Pittsburgh Steelers obviously have made a substantial addition at wide receiver. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know this by now, but Michael Pittman Jr. was traded for, was that Monday? I think that was Monday, right? These last few days have all just
sounds right.
Just been a blur. And if you're familiar with the coverage that we do here, a guy that we really like is
Pierce got signed, and then it was like immediately after he signed.
Yes. Yeah. A guy that we really like is Matt Harmon.
I think he's the best receiver guy out there.
He is the creator of Reception Perception. He now works for Yahoo Sports. And like Matt said, if you want to talk wide receivers, it's tough to find many people better, more dialed in, and with just kind of a better method and formula for evaluation than he does with everything at Reception Perception. And he has put together a little bit of a dossier on the Steelers' newest wide receiver.
So he's put one out. He starts with putting out all the free agents to be, Wan'Dale Robinson, Dobbs, et cetera.
Dobbs, yeah.
And then guys that got traded, like Moore and Pittman, he immediately runs and does theirs. And as the season goes on, you'll get all of his draft stuff will be coming out. Then he'll go back and he'll do all the time. He'll get Jamar Chase and Jefferson and all that type of stuff too. So it's a great service if you're into it. Yeah, and he really breaks it down.
Here's how he starts with Michael Pittman. He says, when healthy, Michael Pittman has been the picture of stability and consistency in the Colts wide receiver room. He struggled while playing through a back injury in 2024, but returned last season to have a strong year as the flanker in an offense that was fantastic to start the year. Now he'll head to Pittsburgh after the Colts needed to get rid of his salary, essentially, choosing Alec Pierce over Pittman going forward. It's a tough ending for a great culture guy during his time in Indy, but that's life in the NFL. It's a perfect time to dive into Pittman's reception perception results to see what the veteran wide receiver still has left to give the Steelers in his second act.
I'll chime in here and there. I do want this to be read. I think it's really, really good. But he mentioned a culture guy.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was total coincidence. I didn't plan on this, but I was just listening to his, podcast talking about the same thing. He's like, might be kind of weird for the Steelers to have a wideout that doesn't have a lot of other stuff going on. Going back over the years, there have been a lot of things going on in that wide receiver room, and this guy's the total opposite. Always in where he's supposed to be, when he's supposed to be there, all that kind of stuff. Right.
That's not a bad problem to have.
No, that's not so good. Yeah.
And Matt, when you he breaks this all down, and this is all available, Matt Harmon, is this on his website or is this on Yahoo?
This is on receptionperception.com.
It's
a pay site.
Success rate by route and route percentage. Basically,
one thing to note there is look at the slant route stuff. Is remarkably high.
Yes.
His success rate on slant routes is remarkably high.
Slant routes, flat routes, dig routes.
Yes.
I mean, he is.
And that's really what Matt couldn't talk about enough in this is he's always been a Pittman fan. I've followed Matt's work since Reception Perception was started. And Pittman's always been someone he's always thought is vastly underrated and still does. And calls him a dirty work guy, and he'll block, and his hands are consistent. He's always where he's supposed to be. But as he was talking through it, because this is kind of a generic one, he started talking about the fit with the Steelers. He's like, McCarthy's going to love this guy, and he's a perfect complement to Metcalf. He's not going to be the over-the-top deep post guy. I mean, they might run 2 or 3 a game or whatever, but that's not where he's going to make his money. It's going to be boom, boom, boom. And then he's like, Aaron Rodgers is going to love this guy.
This guy. When you look at his route tree and where he has success, that's exactly where Aaron Rodgers likes to throw.
Yes. I mean, it's a really good fit for, assuming Rodgers comes back, either one of those guys in a nutshell, but both together, Rodgers and McCarthy, he's like custom made for the offense.
91% success by route on slants.
So I interrupt you all the time, but what's crazy about his success rates or all these percentages is Matt only does the best receivers in the league. Like he didn't he's not going to do Roman Wilson.
He's not. I was just going to say he's not comparing Michael Pittman to,
right.
Yes,
these are all the guys he's done in the database. So if you're like 50% is a lot better than league average. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Because you're comparing against Chase and Jefferson and all these other type of dudes.
You're comparing them to the cream of the crop.
Yes.
Not,
I'm about the scaling.
Not factoring in
last year.
the
right.
wide receiver 3s and 4s around the league.
I only have time to do so many, so I'm going to just do it against my database.
91% success in slant routes, 81% in curls, 81% in digs, 75% in comeback routes, 87% in flat routes.
And those are just last year.
Yeah. And while still, 50-50 in go routes.
Yeah, still capable.
Which is capable. 77% when running a post route. So he still has some good numbers when doing the more down the field stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot of it.
Yes, he does not do a lot of it.
He does show the routes. The green ones are the ones he runs a lot of. The red ones he doesn't.
Curls, flats, and slants are predominantly the most compared to 9
exactly
routes.
What you want him to do here.
Which is the go routes, which is exactly what you want. That's what McCarthy's going to want him to do. That's what Rodgers is going to want him to do. That's what's going to pair well with DK Metcalf. All that stuff that you hit on. I really like this too, Matt. A breakdown of his success rate versus different types of coverage. So versus man, versus zone, versus press. He accelerates in all. Success rate versus man coverage, 71%. Success rate versus zone coverage, 81%. Success rate versus press man coverage, 76%.
He's a professional dude that knows how to win in all ways. The zone coverage stuff is what Matt was really harping on because he's very smart and just understands when to snap his routes off. All the stuff Rodgers drills into all his receivers. I think they're going to mix extremely well.
Longtime reception perception subscribers will know that I've always been a big fan of Pittman's game dating back to an underrated rookie season. One of my favorite parts about his game is that he can credibly play all 3 wide receiver positions, and that remained the case in 2025.
That's way more important than people think.
XYZ?
Yeah. Like Matt even said that at the combine. He's like, I hate these receivers that line up in the same spot.
Every time.
Especially when he's talking about the draft. Like, lines up in the left spot every time. Usually means they aren't smart enough to do the other stuff or, skilled enough to do the other stuff. But he'll do all of it. He could be your slot. He could do anything.
64.5% of his snaps outside on the boundary last season with a dead even split between right and left side. How about that? A dead even split.
Yeah.
A little over 31% of his snaps in the slot. So again, exactly even with his left and right split.
And they had Downs, who's really just a slot. So, he could do whatever you wanted.
He was on the line of scrimmage for 59% of the snaps. Off ball for 42% of the snaps, in the backfield for a little bit there as well. I love the profile, and I love
it's a perfect fit.
The well-rounded skill set. Matt says, in other words, Pittman wore a ton of hats for the Colts offense. You'd likely classify him primarily as a flanker, but who could kick inside and be a power slot. He's capable of aligning anywhere he's needed.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really, really important in this equation. Because we were asked yesterday with one of our tweets to end the show, what kind of receiver do the Steelers need to look for in the draft now? It doesn't matter.
That's the best part.
It doesn't matter. The best one is what they need to look for.
That's a great yes. The best one is what they need to look for. He says you definitely can't count on Pittman Jr. as a downfield receiver too much at this point, as his success rates on pure vertical patterns like 9 routes, outs, and corners show. However, everything else is still outstanding for Pittman. He breaks off coverage on horizontal patterns and works back to the quarterback, especially against zone coverage, on curls and comebacks like a true professional. He's a quarterback-friendly target who can line up anywhere. All 30 teams would like to have a guy like this.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing he said on the podcast that's not in the profile is he felt, and he's watched every route Pittman's ever run.
Sure.
He's like, Pittman's moving as well as he ever did, except in, I think it was October, he had a hamstring. And from that point on, it affected him. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he was a bad player from that point on. But pre-injury, he didn't think he was showing any signs of age.
And here's kind of the final blurb, and you referenced some of this, but Matt Harmon says, the more I've thought about this fit with the Steelers, the more I can't get out of my head that Pittman Jr. is an ideal pairing with Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
McCarthy's offense is a West Coast system that spreads the field and uses a ton of quick game concepts. Pittman's route chart shows he can win at a high level on those assignments. Rodgers also wants to work those concepts often and converts smart players who know where they're supposed players who know where they're supposed to be. Pittman's high-level play against zone will put the veteran quarterback in his comfort zone if he is indeed back with Pittsburgh next season. He's the same archetype of Aaron Rodgers' last favorite, Alan Lazard, but a significantly better version. Frankly, he fits better with both of these guys than DK Metcalf does.
And the last thing I heard Matt say on the podcast when I turned my car off in the parking lot was, he's like Alan Lazard, except he's really good. The beauty of Lazard is he's always where he's supposed to be, and he's big, and he catches everything.
Yes.
Well,
Pittman does all that stuff, but he's really good,
But
too.
he's really good, yeah.
I was excited about the Michael Pittman Jr. edition, but after you sent me that email and reading through that and just talking through it with you now, I think, man, that's what
you're looking for.
That's what you're looking for. That
didn't cost you anything.
Barely cost you anything,
right.
Other than I think fair salary to pay to a guy of his stature. And man, it feels like he will really mesh well with this offense, potentially with Aaron Rodgers, but even if not with Aaron Rodgers, still seems like it's going to be a great fit
the current size of their pass catchers when you mix in Washington and Freiermuth as well.
Awesome.
And he's very different than Metcalf despite being similar build. I mean, their style of play is not the same. With respect to DK, Rodgers, Smith, the team forced DK to do more of this Pittman stuff that we just read than he probably would have been comfortable with. And he showed he could do a lot of it. I mean, slants and things like that too. But I want Metcalf downfield.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that was another thing Harmon mentioned about Pierce. He's like, I understand why they picked Pierce over Pittman, but Pittman helped Pierce way more than the other way around when they both were on the field because he does all the dirty work, and Pierce allowed Pierce to get a lot of one-on-ones downfield, and now he's super rich because of it. You know what I mean?